Hello and welcome to Board Game Box Mania number 4. I'm Matto. I'm Board Game Nutter. Well, not just Board Game Nutter, Board Game Box Nutter. We're doing board game boxes. I make them and I'm showing you. I've done a few videos to show you and they're really long and they're pretty boring, so I'm going to do one more before I do something else. I'm not just going to show you one, I'm going to show you a few of them and go through them a bit quicker because I'm just saying the same things over and over again. That's really boring. And the fact that the one person who's watching these videos, my mother probably, she's probably the only one who'll watch them, she's getting bored with them. So we'll do something different. We'll go through a few. So, straight in. Board Game Box Mania number 4. Yes! Puerto Rico. Right, I'm showing you this one. The first thing I see, look, I put all that stuff on upside down. What an idiot. It's to show you one of the main reasons why I make board game boxes. Apart from I love them, that's the main reason. I love making them. It's to save space. Now, Puerto Rico, that comes in a classic Euro size box, doesn't it? So I've got a lot of ones like this. And you can see that's like a Ticket to Ride box, which is about the same what the original Puerto Rico box is, I imagine. You can see I've actually cut it down by half. It's taken up half the shelf space. I'm tight on shelf space. I ain't got much in my house, so the more I can cut down, the more games I can have. Happier I am. So this is some of the things I'm going to say. I don't want to repeat them. So it's just like boring. So if you know, forgot what I was going to say now. Can't remember. Fuck it. Oh, sorry. So I'm still doing these things that I talked about in an earlier video. In the earlier videos, if you watch them, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I'm not going to repeat it. It was boring. So I'm still doing this, still causing me problems with when I cut out the original game box. Look, I was making the best of my decisions. They weren't very good decisions. Doesn't matter. Not bothered. And it's interesting, which is just while I'm on this one, I talked about on my Kalos one about how I used to cut these out square and then I started to nick these little corners off, which I've done here, and it doesn't look as nice as my Kalos one. Hang on. Here's my Kalos one with the square corners. That one's got cut off corners. It's not as nice. Now I'm going to talk, you know, a little bit about this one because the two that come after that are the same, and then I won't have to talk about them then. So I talk about the importance. If ever you decide to start making boxes, which you probably won't, and if you do, you better be half mad, is to have a standard size that you're making, or standard sizes. So you can see here, here's a classic example. I'm glad I got this. This has made me talking about. Is when I was doing it, I was trying to do economy of space, and you can see because I didn't really think and make decisions. There was, you know, slightly different, 5mm different, 6mm. That looks terrible on the shelf. Doesn't look good at all. It looks really bad, and it spoils it. You know, and even if you want to stack them that way, they're different. You know, if I had made this just ever so slightly bigger to a standard size, it would have been better. And this is about the standard size I'm going for now for the A4 type of games, ones that have A4 rule books and A4 boards and stuff like that. Standard sizes do it. So from now on, all the ones I'm making are going to be into, you know, well, I've got about 3 or 4 standard sizes. And they'll look much better on my shelf and much easier to stack and that kind of thing. So this one, there's probably a few things I can talk about all on this design and that. You know, there's a bit too much black here, but I can live with it. All this cutting, I put it on upside down, stupid. And again, right, this is an issue. So again, I'm finding bits out of the box to struggle to cut out because I've made it so thin. And this thing is always causing me problems. Look, I mean, I kind of got away with it a bit. Doesn't look too bad. But I'm not doing that anymore. Now a cup of tea because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to make this video too long, but it's going to end up being really long. Sorry, I'm really sorry. People are going to stop watching, not the people who are watching anyway. No one's bloody watching these, are they? Really? I'll make them, I'll put them up. No one's going to watch them. I predict. What do you reckon? 20 views. I'll get 50 views on the first one, and by the time this one comes around, I'll get 5, if that. Anyway, right. Lid comes off. It's too loose for me. You know, I've talked on the earlier videos about trying to get the boxes just the perfect balance between looseness and stiffness. Because if it's too loose, it falls away, and if it's too stiff, you can't get it off. This one's too loose, but this is a very early box. I was trying to work out what the right size is, and you can see it's. Look in here. You can probably see that. Because it's so loose, I put some tape in here to try and tighten it up, so it was nicer. And then when you put it on and off, the tape kept coming off and ripping, and it's ripped all the paint off and made a right old mess. Live and learn. Okay, standard things. I'm tight in there, perfect to the A4 size. I've got a little. Let's get the rules out. Little stoppers on the end, so that goes, and so I can get my fingers in to get the boards out. That's absolutely vital. Boards out. Now this is a basic kind of Euro kind of layout. This is basic box making for me. And first thing I see in my Eclipse one, I had the tiles laid out like this, lying down, sort of half lying down at an angle, and saying what a stupid idea it was. And it is a kind of stupid idea, and it causes problems. But I couldn't work out why I did it. And I worked out, when I opened this one earlier, I worked out why I've done it like that. It's because you do that, you can pick them up. They're really quick to pick up. That's why I did it, which is a good thing, because again, you know, the setup of doing this, the setup of this is so quick because all these things in here are in order. All the buildings are in the order that they're on the board. So when you're setting up, you put the board out, and rather than having a pile of things in a baggie and you've got to sort out right what goes where and what goes where, which is all right, and you know, does people mind doing that? Some people enjoy doing that as part of the game. I like to whack it out and get playing. Is, you know, the idea of this is you go, and they're all in order. There's your small indigo plants, large indigo plants, small sugar plants. Boop, 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 you go dunk, 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 all in order. And it doesn't take any length of time to put that in order, because after you finish playing your game, rather than just bunging them all back in the thing, it's like you can, you know, each person can just put them back on the board and then you pick them up in the order. It doesn't take long. Then again here, standard things that I do, or I did, whether I still do them, I probably will. Whenever you got tiles and stuff, they're in there, and you've got little stoppers to stop them rattling around. In there, little stoppers, stop them rattling around, so you can get them out. Pick them out, hand them out. And then the other thing I do, black is, you know, if it's black, it's part of the box. Brown ones, they come out. So I've got victory point chips here. A little box, again with a double thing where I pick it up. And actually right in there, because you've got you have different number of victory points for the different players. So in theirs you've got like two and 3 players, so the number of victory points. So we're playing with 2, normally when everything's in baggies, especially in Puerto Rico, you're playing it and you think, well, how many players we've got? 3, right, we've got to count out 55 victory points or whatever. But you don't when you do it like this. You just do that, tip it up, and they're all there. And if you're playing with 4, then you do these ones as well. And if you're playing with 5, you do all of them. And I've written in there how many go in there. So 4 means 25 in there. It's easy to put 5's in there. That makes it quicker. Everything I'm looking for to make it quicker and easier set up, doing all that counting. And the same with the columnists here. 55 columnists. I mean, counting them out. You count them out and then you count it twice, don't you? Just to make sure. Well, I don't know. You normally put them. Well, no, I put them in little piles of 5 and then count. But here you don't. Well, you take it on trust, I suppose. It's a bit stupid. But again, you can just tip them out, and then if you're playing with how many players, you add these ones in, and then I don't know. Does it save any time? Saves a bit of time. Don't know. Obsessive. Don't know. That's it. Same with coins. They're done. They've got these plastic inserts, so it's easy to pull the coins out. Doubloons. Doubloons. Tricky on this one. I don't know if you can see there. You probably can't. I'm going to spill all these everywhere, aren't I? This plastic stuff can be quite difficult to put in. And because I made it like this, it's pushed all the sides out because I've only done single sides. What I should have done, I should have put double sides, so it didn't do that. But it doesn't matter. It's still strong, but not very square, is it? And then these tables, you just bang them on the table there. Puerto Rico. Spare colonists. I like it. I really like it when they give you spare pieces. And of course, in my little place to get my hands in, what goes in there? The spare parts. Get rid of them. They don't go under there. In the main game, they're spare parts. Stick them in the end. Where they belong. Bit tight, you know. Bit too tight. Puerto Rico. Standard kind of Euro box. Next one. Le Havre. I used to buy a lot of Euro games. I'm not such a mad Euro gamer now. I like mucking around stupid games. Getting too old. So this is the same. It's the same thing. Same size. Same kind of game. Now you can see it. This little thing's causing me the problems again. Because I mean, look what I've done here. Is it nice? It's got its charm in it. Charming. Is it nice? Sometimes I look at it and think it's horrible. Sometimes I look at it and think that's different. That's nice. Don't know. But anyway, the reason I've done this is because of this stupid thing. Because I couldn't get the bit off the side of the box because this was going to be in the way. And then, however it was on the side of the box, I'm trying to remember this. This is like 10 years ago. And that would have cut into the wording or cut into a picture or made it look stupid. So I cut it all out like this. And then to try and save my graces, I tried to do something quirky by cutting the little dudes out and little ship. I actually think that looks really nice with the ship. You know, so I don't know, you know, it's alright. I think that's alright. I like it. It's alright. It's got its charm. But right, I made this one soon after Puerto Rico and it was too loose, wasn't it, Puerto Rico? So I thought, right, I better make the thing smaller because I want it tighter. So I took a bit off. Can't open it. Too tight. Too tight. There's a technique you've got to use. It works, and I'm thankful for those. But to have technique to open your box, it's rubbish. Totally rubbish. Fools. A fool's errand. It's not even an errand. Technique to open a box. I mean, I've had this. Play the game and say, right, yeah, what we can play? Let's play Le Havre. Get that down. Oh, can't open it. Oh God. Right, give it to me. I'll open it. It's ridiculous. Right, Le Havre. We'll go through this. Now, I quite often do this in my games. I don't do box making. I write my own rules and I write the own setup, so I don't have to go trawling through the rule book each time. If it's been a long time since I played, a long time, I'll still have to go back to the rule book. But if it hasn't been that long and I can still remember most of it, so much quicker to, I've got it in my own words how to do the setup, and I've got rid of all the fluff in the rules, just bang. That's what you do. Same here with the rules. Oh, it's on gold card, that's nice, isn't it? Gold. Funny old gold. I won't go, yeah. Don't know, I'm not going to go off on a tangent, not on this video, it'll go on for hours and start talking about gold. Anyway, here's the rules. Now, if I sat here and read this, probably wouldn't make any sense. I'd have to reread the rule books. I've played it for so long. But I do that in quite a few games, and especially I do that as well if there's dodgy rules or dodgy bits in the rule book and I find them on BGG to look them up. I'll write them down so I don't have to look them up again. Rules. Again, tight. Again, this space here to get the things out. Boards. This is quite a basic one. So I've got my cards in here. Again, with stoppers to stop them flapping about, especially with the sleeves. If they're banging about, or you know, I don't want to damage them. And I don't really know why I've sleeved this, because normally I only really sleeve games that where the cards are in your hands a lot. My friend Jack's got really dirty fingers. We played one game of El Grande when I first got it, and the yellow cards all around the edge, they're black because he had such dirty hands. So ever since then, I make him wash his hands before he plays, and I started to sleeve ones cards that you got in your that you hold a lot. But anyway, and so the standard thing, I've got my stoppers, but I've also got a bit of board like that on the bottom. So it gives you something to get under to pick up that first one. Otherwise, you can't pick up the bottom one and you trash the card. Little things like that make all the difference, don't they? Not only in let me just check, make sure all this is in view, because I think it's kind of right. What was I on about? What am I saying? Not very important. Little details make all the difference. You know, something like that. No one notices. I notice. I know it's in there. It gives me joy that I know that I've done that. No one notices. But if you're making stuff like that, if it wasn't there, it causes you problems. You know, you damage cards, you muck around, or not having these stoppers and you can't get them out. And the little details. That's one reason why I'm doing these things and I'm talking and I'm waffling and blah, and you know, it's only really going to appeal to quite anal people who are interested in the small details, and if they're interested in the small details, they'll like watching stuff like this because they're that kind of person, I suppose. But yeah, you know, and I hope, because I'm worried, I'm waffling here and I don't care, because I'm worried about making these boring, because I do worry about it. I don't want to rush through, like, you know, I'm thinking rushing through this, and I don't really want to rush through the things and miss, because I'll miss the little details, because at the end of the day I can make a video 5 minutes, show you all these boxes, poof, that's it, great, you know, but that doesn't help the people who maybe I'm trying to help or inspire, if that's what I'm trying to do. It's the devil's in the details. That's what makes it. That's what makes a good box. I love boxes. Good box, isn't it? That's all you want to do, is make a good box. You know, you can spend all this time and make something, and then you don't like it, or you think, oh, I can't get the cards up, and you start you start thinking, it's crap, don't like it. It brings you bad vibes and bad feelings. You want these things, or I do. I make these to give me joy. I don't care if they give other people joy. They give me joy. Right, enough of that. So, these little boxes, yep, you need these for the half, because otherwise, well, you know, you've got all these tokens that you see on the board. If they're not in boxes, they just sprawl everywhere. It's just a chaos mess. So you need these little boxes. And you can buy little boxes and that. But why buy little boxes when you can make little boxes? I mean, what do all these, you know, boxes cost me? They cost me time. It's quite a precious resource, I suppose. But, you know, it doesn't cost me anything to make these little boxes. These are quite easy to make. I must do some technical stuff about how to make things. I will. My next series is going to be some making things. These have got those plastic inserts so things don't get stuck in the corners, especially with these, especially square ones in the corners are deadly. So these have got these plastic things so you can pull them out and nothing gets stuck in there. But again, the beauty of this is the setup. Boof, you know, you're whacking them out, bang, bang, put them on places. You know, when you get your baggie, and I don't mind baggies, I'm not slagging them off. You know, you undo it and shake it out and like knock stuff everywhere like that. You shake them out, and then when you're putting them away, this is easy. Tokens in there, just random. It's not really my style, just random, but fuck it. Sorry, I'm really trying not to do that. You must ask forgiveness for people who get offended by it. I mean, I actually sort of swear quite a lot because I'm a Londoner and I live in Ireland and there's a lot of swearing goes on. Anyway, so I apologise. I'm not a rude man. Well, I'm a bit coarse, I suppose. Anyway, but I'm not like that. I'm not what am I trying to say? Don't know. And this is a bit of a dodgy thing. I've got the tokens put in there, but that's because I was probably trying to keep it to a size, was I? I mean, I don't know. Or I'd worked it out wrong. Maybe I thought I could fit them in and I couldn't, and I put them in there. Don't really like that. Doesn't matter, they're just loose. Those are spare tiles that wouldn't fit in here, but you never need them all. Might spend too long on that one. Oh, again, standard Euro kind of box. Got a few of these. They all kind of look the same. I mean, that's kind of the same as the Puerto Rico. So the main reason I'm showing you that one is their difference, because that one's loose, this one's tight, and I'm trying to find that perfect balance between it, and it's such a fine balance. You're talking, you know, fractions of millimeters. You know, maybe, you know, 0.8 of a millimeter is the perfect thing, and then, you know, you're trying to make them to this standard, to, you know, to these fine things, and then if you get something slightly wrong, a twist in the box. So I don't know, because I've made ones the same size as that Le Havre, and they're looser than that one. That one's a twist in the box. Next one, City Tycoon. Now this is a standard Euro one. I'm not going to spend long on this. Doesn't look very nice. Top looks nice. I like the top. This was, well, no, it's worth talking about this for a bit, because I did actually do a City Tycoon one yesterday, and then my phone ran out of battery and everything got mucked up. And the video was boring anyway, because I spent 20 minutes talking about this, and I realised I could probably talk about all of these in the same period of time. But one of the problems with this is, you know, I cut up the original boxes to put on these. This City Tycoon, this is a great little city building game, actually, quite an old one. This came in a Ticket to Ride size box, like that. And it's a massive space saving. I've really saved so much space. That's why I really like this one. It saves so much space. But there's two problems with this. One is because I was going for economy of space. Look at the difference there. Did I talk about that? Okay, yeah, I did. I thought I was clever, making it as small as I possibly could. I thought, yeah, that's cool. I made it really cool. Didn't think about that. Difference in height. Standard sizes. Choose your standard sizes. Right, so that's one issue with this, and the other one is trying to work out when you've got a box and you're bringing it down. It's so much when you do a major shift in the size like this one. You always, you know, not always, but you very often struggle with trying to be able to get the bits to fit on the sides. The front, the top's always okay, usually, not always, mostly. But that's the bit you never see when it's on the shelf, isn't it? And that's the bit that always looks the best. It's the sides you see. And you can see on this one, on the box it had City Tycoon written like this. It didn't have City Tycoon like that. Only different letters, different letter forms, and on the picture with different backgrounds. Let's look at it first. And you know, that's the only solution I could do. It's not very good. Tells you what the name of the game is. But two different fonts, two different backgrounds. It's just messy, innit? Doesn't look great. This is the one thing that wrecks me with making these boxes, is these getting things on the side, because in sorting out the size of the box and getting it down, I'm not really bothered about this area. It's the height that I'm reducing. That's the thing that eats up your shelf space, the height, not this. So I want to reduce the height, and it gets difficult to put these on. And sometimes it's just crap, like this one. And maybe when I have these difficult ones, and I'm going to have a difficult one when I do my El Grande on, I should maybe try and get them sorted by printer or something, so they'll fit better, work something out a bit better. This is a complete mess as well. I've got my stupid little semicircle there to help get it off, which I need with these because this box is tight. You know, if that wasn't there, I wouldn't be able to get the lid off at all. It's just a mess, isn't it? Poor craftsmanship. Poor craftsmanship. It's not easy cutting semicircles with a Stanley knife in grey board. Grey board isn't easy to cut. It's very hard. Messy. I think that's great. Messy. Rebel game. Another video. You see, too tight, so I've got to use my sideways technique, which is alright. I don't mind my sideways technique, but you got to know the technique, don't you? If you don't know how to do it, you can't do it. Look at that, 4 times 4 pulls I need to get that. That's no good. That's no good at all. But you live and learn. You live and learn. Same again. You're governed by the side of the board or the sides of the board. That's what's governing the shape of this. You can see how much I've done that. I should have just added a bit more. Bring out the side. Nice little box. Tile laying city game. It's a good little game. Don't like the artwork. They've tried to make the buildings look all spacey and that, but they just look like blobs. They don't look like buildings. It's a shame. Look. Does that look like a building? If you can see it. It's a blob. Look, what's that? Is that a building? It's a brain. Anyway. Not a good game. So again, I've gone for this slidey bit again. Don't really like that. That can cause me problems that I talked about. But I realised why I did it is because of that. Poof, pick them up. And I've got my plastic. You know, you see here, they come up because of the plastic. Another word, technical. Technical. I put this bit of plastic in here, and then I spray painted it black. Because I put spray paint on the whole thing. Don't do that. Spray the box first, if you ever do that, and then put the plastic in clear. It's clear plastic. Because once you put the paint on it, it gets much more sticky. It's not so smooth, so the action doesn't work as well. So you can see here, you can feel the friction. It's not smooth. That's a tip. I like giving technical tips. Not that anyone's going to listen to it. So again, black for the thing. Things that aren't black come out. Pieces and money. I like having pieces of money in boxes on the table rather than strewn loose on the table. That's just my nature. Tiles in there again with the spacer. Fine. All given to the height. And then I've got, these are the player tokens. You know, I ran out of space, so I shoved them in there in baggies. You know, here's another thing. I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see because it's all black, but right along here, where I'm putting the board, So I've got the box side is here, and then on the inside of them I've got another layer of this, and that's what the board sits on the edge. So the board sits on there, and then all these are the same height, even though, well, you know, it's gone a bit high. That's bad craftsmanship. And that's what keeps the board flat, and that's what keeps everything, because the board is flat, and then this is tight to here, and the board is, you know, up against the top, and that's what keeps all the components in the right place. And then at the end, I've just got a little, gets a little bit higher, because that's my stop. So it's like a very truncated L-shaped piece that goes like that, and then a little stop on the end. And you know, that's two grey boards thick, so that's four thick, that bit. So that's, you know, those walls are 8 millimeters thick. 8 millimeters thick, those. So that's tough. It's tough as anything. It's not breaking. Not breaking at all. Yeah, fluffer. What a fluffer. But you can see I haven't quite done it enough, so I've had to put an extra one in there in order for it to work. Sometimes you just got to add little bits here and there, muck about, make it work. City Tycoon. Next one. 2 more. I wonder how long I've been going. What do you reckon? Half an hour? Oh, this is going to go 45 minutes. Sorry. Stone Age. Magic. What a look. Now, City Tycoon. Ugh. Burns my heart. Crap. Ugly. Ugh. Don't like it. Terrible. Stone Age. Love it. Lifts my heart. So it's 6 of one, half dozen the other, isn't it? Alex Magic. The black around it. And again, that thing I was talking about, did I talk about this one? I think so, with the cut off corners. See, I didn't cut the corners off here. And it's such a subtle thing, whether you cut the corners or leave it square. Those little subtleties. That if I cut the corners on that, it wouldn't look as nice. I cut the corners on here. Don't know what difference that made, but certainly on the top it wouldn't look as nice. It wouldn't look so much like a picture frame. Colour, I love Stone Age box. The colour of it, I mean, how that is just, what a beautiful orangey colour. It's so rich, it's so deep, so vibrant. It's, lifts my heart. I love it. It's board game boxes, I love it. I love a nice box. Anyway, so the Stone Age box is pretty fat, wasn't it? It was pretty thick. This one's still pretty thick, but I think the original Stone Age box here is probably up here somewhere. So, you know, it's probably the same as that, and one of the Euro games almost. You know, it's a big fat box. Now, I've got this in here because I'm still doing that at this point. Get rid of that. Doesn't look too bad on this one because I've got the whole strip in, as opposed to these ones where I've got bits. And I've got bits because they're so thin. But once you get thicker, it's easy to get the whole strip in. And if that wasn't there and that was the whole strip, that would look magic. Like that. Looks great, doesn't it? Well, I don't know. Maybe you think it looks terrible or boring. I think it looks great. I love it. I love this dude on the chair. And he's on there. Yeah, so that's what I'm going for now. Right, now this one thing to mention. Right, this is thicker. Thicker boxes are harder to get the tension right. So even if I had the same tolerances on this as I had on my other ones, this would be much harder to get off because there's much more friction. There's much more in contact. So I think I used the same margins as I did on these, and it's tough as old nuts. You know, I can sort of put it off like that, but I do kind of have to do it with my technique a bit and reach it. You know, it's like, Jesus, man. You're laughing at me, aren't you? It's rubbish, really, isn't it? Anyway, but you can see with this one was so tight that the lid's broken. It cracked the edge. Look, ripped it apart. For all the strength I put into those corners, because I made them very strong using double overlaps, it broke it. So you see how hard it was to get off there. Imagine what it was like when it weren't broken. I remember it distinctly. I made the box, and I only put all this. It was just in black. And I done it, and I thought, right, let's see how it fits. And I put it on, and I pushed it down. Couldn't get it off. Couldn't get it off. That's why it's broke. Because I had a fight with it, trying to get it off. Right, standard stuff. Doof, overlay. Got the basic setup written out there, because again, just easy. Style is gone. It's not called that anymore. I bought that when it was there. Don't like that picture. She don't know. She looks a bit weird. Doesn't look right. Board. Now this is an interesting one just to mention. This is tricky one because you got all these different boards, different size boards. Trying to plan the insert for that. It's not easy. It's really not easy. It takes a lot of time. You know, you've got all these different levels, you know, so I've got one level here where my pieces are. Yeah, so these are going in there. Yeah, and then that brings me up to this level, which is the next level for the board. And not only have you got those levels, but you've also got the sideways level, because the boards only go there, and that board goes all the way over and covers them over. A lot of working out to get those to work right. And because of this, and because all this is so thick, all the boards together are so thick, and I need a certain amount of height, and because these boards are smaller, this has given me the option, you know, I've got more space than maybe I want. You know, I'm wasting a lot of space. I'm not wasting it, but there's a lot of empty space in here that on other boxes I would have tried to do that, but because I'm constrained by that, it has to be that wide, and then I've got height. Just the way, you know, it's all right. I mean, you know, it fitted all that lovely, so brilliant. Now, first thing, probably any Stone Age nut is going to notice this. Where's the cup? Where's the stinky cup? I couldn't get it in here. I could get it in here, but to get that cup in here, I would have had to go up a load more, and then suddenly there's no point making a box because we're getting up towards the original box. And I was thinking, what do I want? A non-reduced size game, or not have the cup? And I thought, stuff it, the cup couldn't bob off, because you can roll the dice without the cup, and the cup sits on my shelf and it's there. So if we play Stone Age, we just get the cup down. Sacrifice, wasn't it? That was all. So, again, token trays. Again, so much preferable to baggies for me. Double strips in the middle, because that's where you pick them up. And you just go bang, set up on the table. Saving the money. Bang, on the table. It's not money, it's food. Whenever I play Stone Age, you hardly ever use these fives. Maybe I'll crap at it. Right, this has got plastic in there, the plastic bits to pull them out. Standard fare. Right, and now this was a development then in the thing. So up to this point, the games I'm playing, the cards were just loose in there. Well, they had a little section, and you know, now I put the cards in tuck boxes. These are old cereal boxes and pizza boxes. Sleeves, why not? I like Stone Age, I really like Stone Age, I haven't played it for a while. I really like Stone Age, because it just looks beautiful. It's one where the art really gets me. And it's, you know, it's a nice weight, nice family weight, family level with thinking. You know, if you don't want to think too hard and have a bit of a caveman-y laugh, it's grand. Again, little player pieces, give them out. Same as a baggie, but don't flap about. It's all nice and organised. DVD, what else? Right, and because I've had all this extra space, then I can done something a little bit different here. Normally, all this would be a lot tighter, but you know, I can afford all this space around the edge. And there you go, pick them up, all like that. No rubber bands, you know. I mean, maybe someone put a rubber band around that in the box, or it's always dodgy rubber bands putting on around bits, or loose floating about, or in a baggie. Bit of pain in the arse. Bang, got them all. Same here. These little tiles. They've just got their own little section that you can get your fingers in. You've got to make sure you can get your fingers in to get them out. Dice and bits floating around. Right, 10s. I couldn't get the 10s in there. Maybe it's the 10s I'm talking about. You hardly ever use, not the 5s. I can't remember. Couldn't get them in there because suddenly, now I look at it, I could have got it in there. Could have got them in there with a bit more of a quirky thing. Probably too complicated, not worth it. I don't know why I didn't do that. I'm sure there's loads of stuff I forgot to talk about that I wanted to talk about. Stone Age. Right, now, before we do the last one, this is what I mean. And these are on the shelf. Just a quick ditty. That's what they look like on the shelf. And all these, the different broken teeth I call them. Broken teeth. Don't look good. These, I don't like these. Shame. Can't get rid of them now. It's got to live with them. Each time I look at them, they're a reminder. A reminder of the development. A reminder of the journey. I mean, I think a lot about mad stuff. But I think a lot about, I don't know, what do you want to call it, spiritual stuff. And you see it everywhere in the world and things like that. That's a little reminder to me that it doesn't matter where you're at, doesn't matter particularly, as long as you're trying to be good or whatever good is, but you're trying not to damage things and damage the world. You can, it's just, that was something I did, and now I'm a bit wiser, and I've learnt, and I've learnt to improve, and I've learnt to improve my box making by not doing that, by working out, what's good and how, what's tight and what's loose, and trying to get it right and get it, to just how I like it. That's the same. It just reminds me to apply all these things to myself. God. Shut up. Cup tea. Last one. Power grid. First thing about this is a case where I haven't made it smaller. It's bigger than the original box. I'll get into why. It's magic. That just looks brilliant. I love this box. I love the look of it. I love that green. It's just, look at it. I mean, the green and these little touches of red. I mean, three and a bit touches, little subtle. I don't know if that thought's gone into it. It's beautiful. There's three little bits of red. Just, you don't notice it, but it brings it. If they weren't there, that box is boring. Not boring, but it's way boringer. Three little dots of red. Subtleties, just little things, just make it. And then I love this up here. I love the lettering. I mean, I'm a lettering man. That's my job. I love the lettering here, and I love the way that just looks like electricity going across it. Did they think of that? Probably. Give him the credit. He looks like a nice guy. Might be a bit boring, but a nice guy. I'd like to know him. He'd have some interesting stories to tell. So, and the green and the black. It's like the Kalis with the blue and the black, and that Stone Age with that orange and the black. You know, you don't get it on that. It's too many colours, too much mixture. There's not enough basic woof, oh yeah, that's it. Green, orange, blue. With the black, looks lovely. Got these things on, you know, got little jobbies. You know, you can see that's the thickness of the original box. You know, it's a bit thicker than that. But now, why is this so thick? Now, this is a toolbox, right? I was going to say, and it comes off, doesn't it? It does. You know, that's much easier than that Stone Age. I learned a lesson from the Stone Age here. I gave it a bit more. But this is a classic example of when you make a box, especially if you think you want expansions. And I come to terms of, I don't make a box unless I'm pretty sure there's never going to be any expansions. And then, you know, because if you need expansions, it's not going to fit in the box. And if I make that decision, and then I make the box, and then there is an expansion, like sometimes you get ones that come out years later, then that's the way it is. Bad luck. So I have to have that in another box, or find something, or I could make a new bottom. It would leave a bit of black around the, you know, like instead of the end of the box sitting there, it might be like that. So it could be possible to incorporate expansions. Power grid, you see, I could have made this way smaller, but there were millions of expansions for it, and at the time I was a bit of a completionist. Still am, but maybe not quite so bad. And I thought, God, I can't make the power grid box and then suddenly end up with 5 expansions. What am I going to do? So what I did is I made allowance for expansions. So I've got 3. I've got the base game and 2 expansions in here. But I put this bit in here that if ever, I think it's allowed me to get 3 more, which I never will now because life's moved on. Unless they were really cheap, unless you found them in a bargain bin for £2 or in a second hand thing or something for really cheap, then I'd get them. But I'm not going to spend £20 on buying a power grid expansion, and I've got 3 in here anyway. But I put this in here, and my thinking was I can then, if I get an expansion, I can take that out and cut it down and then put it in. So that's why I did that. Now this one is also, this is my next standard size. So I've got that size, which is my A4 kind of size, and this is my big box size for games that have got big boards. Hopefully it can take quite a few. I mean, I'm going to do my El Grande one, which the board is smaller, you know, a good bit smaller than this, and I'm going to put it in this and waste a load of space just to keep the standard size. But I'll talk about that when I do the El Grande one. 3 boards for that. Now, again, it's pretty standard stuff. Grey because it's coming out, black if it doesn't. They just come out playing pieces and that, you just take them out. Cards and in there. I've got the extra power plant cards, you know, with finger spaces, money with the finger spaces. There's not actually much stuff in here. And this is one thing, it's just interesting for Power Grid. I've got some coins here. Because, you know how on Power Grid you choose the territories that you're not going to play if you're playing with less than the full amount of players. And we normally do it by drawing the pieces. You know, we take one colour of each, because each colour piece is the colour of one of the territories. So that's how we pick them. And then the ones that we're not doing, we actually block them off with these coins, because it can get very confusing. So let's say we're not using that green one. It can get very confusing to know which ones you're doing and where the cities are, so we block them off with coins. And I had this idea, which I never did. Maybe I will do it one day, because I thought I would actually paint these white and make them little no entry signs, which look really nice. One of those little things you have a good idea and you think that'd be great, and then you don't do it because you don't need to. HAVRE. I think that's. Oh no, hang on, there was something there I didn't show you. These things. Yeah, I do these things a lot, and they're not on paper, they're on card, and they're all written out. Power Grids, the rule book in there is a bit of a nightmare. There's all these hidden little rules that you can never remember, like when's step 2 and when's step 3, and when do you do, when you're doing the market, how do you manipulate the market and get rid of the lower ones, and when do you bring in the new ones and all that, and it's all hidden in there. So I make these little summary sheets. You know, it's nothing special, is it? You know, you probably get these in a lot of games these days, or player aids, that kind of thing. But yeah, so this has all got all the little rules that you forget, and it's got all the things. So, and then, you know, that's one of the expansions, that rules are different and the things are different. And you know, what you do for everything's different for different players. So they're just reference sheets. You know, better than trawling through a shoddy, well, it's not a shoddy rule, but that's a bit harsh, but you know, when you've got one of them hidden rules that you can't remember, and you can just never find them in the rule book. And I'm very loath, even though I might have done it in this one, I don't think I did to highlight them, but still you're sitting around thinking, and they're not in obvious places, you know. And then with that kind of thing, you know, you always have that sat on the table, because you need to know how many to do each end of each round. And it's massive, you know, it's just too big, it takes up too much space. HAVRE. That's it. Box Mania come to an end. So I've got loads more games at home, which I will show, but I'm going to stop showing these because it's too much. So the next load of videos I'm going to do is going to be going through my El Grande box, and it's going to be loads of videos, because it takes hours and 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 days and forever to make one box. And I want to go through all the stages. I'm not only doing that for me, I'm doing that, you know, all for you. I'm doing that in case someone wants to make their own boxes. They want to use grey board, and I know when I want to learn something, I go on YouTube and there's a 5-minute video. That helps a little bit, but it doesn't really help. So I have so many questions about what about this, what about this, what about this, and I want to do it really comprehensively, so I'm covering everything. So it's going to be probably about 10 videos about, you know, and try and get, shut up man. Goodbye, I'm away.